Greetings, salutations, and all that jazz. We're gonna switch it up today, although I do have so much shit to talk about. Last week was crazy, but we're gonna switch it up. So, switching it up. As the title says, the top 10 scariest moments in Japan for me. Maybe it's not gonna be the list you would make, but it's for me. And I have some honorable mentions. All right, so number 10. So number 1 being the most, 10 being eh. Now, you'd be surprised where I put my 10, or what I put in 10. It would have to be earthquakes. Yeah, in Japan they have earthquakes. They're kind of scary, but when I first encountered earthquakes, I was on a bunk bed, study abroad, and I woke up and it was all like, ooh. I was kind of like, it was funny. It woke me out of my sleep. And I went back to sleep. The end. And for the most part, that's how I treated all earthquakes. Kind of like a fun occurrence. Since we don't get those in Pennsylvania yet. Times are changing. The big one, actually, even the big one that happened in 2011 was still the same thing until whatever. But that will come back on my list. All right, the next one is police, being stopped by the police. Again, it's up there because the first time it happened, I was a study abroad student riding a bike to 7-Eleven, and then a cop rolled up on me. He's like, and I just got to the country, so I don't know why I'm being stopped. And I'm all alone in the dark. And yeah. So I believe, and it's been a while, 2011 or 2005. So it's been a minute. But I believe it was because I was riding a bike with no lights. And it wasn't my bike. It wasn't registered, blah, blah, blah. So it was scary. And then I would get stopped by the cops a lot of times. One time I was walking, eating Dorito chips to the station, which was a half an hour away from where I used to live, talking to my brother, and the cops passed, and then they came back down, and they're like, "Where's your passport?" And it was on one of those days where I didn't bring it, because passports are pretty important documents. You lose it. So they picked me up. I got into the car, and then we drove back to my house to go get it. And then they were so kind to drive me back to the station. But while I was in the car, they're just like, "Oh, you look like this African American." Well, they weren't saying it in such beautiful pronunciation, but they're like, "Oh, you look like Jiro Mitai, Eddie Murphy." So after that, I just really didn't take them serious. When I would go into the police stations, the Kobans, to ask for help, they damn near laughed at me. I'm like, "Oh, where is such and such?" Like, oh. It was always annoying. So that's why they're on 9 up there. And then towards the end of my stay in Japan, I just ignored them because, yeah. Now, of course, I wasn't like doing anything of like breaking the law or anything. I was a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen. Citizen. And they're just being annoying. All right, number 7 on my list would be getting lost. And this is back in the day when we didn't have Google Maps and Apple this and translating programs. So when you got lost, it was kind of scary. One time, again, when I first got there, I got lost so bad. Like I was just walking around. Why am I walking down this muddy thing? I was walking around. I got to the station because this particular station had the same name as the other station. One was a subway, one was not a subway. And I went to the wrong one by accident, so I'm like, "Oh, I'll just walk around." So I walk around the station. Like, okay, let me walk around this way. Let me go down this street. And I could not find the exit or the way to get back on the train. So I started to panic. So I called my friend. I said, "Hey, I'm lost. Get me." And she came out. She got me. So that was number 7. All right, where we at? Number 6 on my list of things that I was scared of. Number six. Oh, that's my number 1. All right, so number 6 would probably be, I guess it's up here because it didn't directly affect me, but it was scary. And it's number 6. Maybe I should make it number 5. All right. Oh, that's number 2. Oh, man. All right. That's 1. That's 2. I didn't write this down, but I did have a good think about it a couple days ago. All right. So we're still at number 6, which would have been... okay, this one. Losing stuff. The first time I lost... the first thing I lost in Japan was... my virginity. No. The first thing I lost in Japan was my... I lost an envelope with $300. It didn't have a name on it. It was just $300. 3 large in an envelope with no name on it. Straight from the airport. You know, you change your money over. Actually, let me go this way. So, I was walking to the station with my friends. We were done playing pool or bowling. Or maybe both. It's one of those multiplex looking places. And I pat my pocket because it's all the money I had. Because I was, a little study abroad, no money having student. So I went to go take out $100 to buy 1 ticket to get change, whatever. I didn't find the envelope. So then I ran looking around and I went back to where we came from. And I'm like, I couldn't say it in English or I couldn't say it in Japanese. So I'm just like, and they're like, oh, is this yours? And I'm like, yeah. And I open it up and there's $300 in there. And they're like, here you are. I'm like, wow, if this would have been America, I'd have been asked out. And my what's the word? My experiences with losing stuff, I got almost everything back. I lost a MacBook Pro. I lost Evisu jeans. I lost another wallet. I lost my camera, like a DSLR Sony with the lenses. I lost all types of shit, but I always got it back. The only thing I never got back was I had a passport and that got lost and it never came back to me, along with my book bag, and there was a notebook full of rhymes. But every other thing that I lost, my 360 camera, got it all back. And I got callous, like, oh, I forgot it, because it would be on the trains where I usually lost these things. So I put my bag on top, and then maybe I would find an open seat over there, so I sit down there, then my stop comes, and then I hop out, and then the train goes like, oh, I forgot my bag. And I'll just, you know what, I'll do this in the morning, because I just felt that way. So that's number 6. Number 5. I guess we could put it here. Number 5 would be the Yakuza. I hadn't had any confrontations with me per se, but there was 2 that came up. One, I was performing at the spot in Omiya, and one day the guy's like, don't come tonight because there was some shit that went down. So I'm like, okay. So I told my girlfriend at the time, like, yeah, we can't go because some shit went down. So when I met up with him, my friend who got me the gig, he's like, yeah, the people, Yakuza, came in and they beat him up because he didn't pay his protection money. Yeah, it sounds cliche, but that's what he said. Now, I wasn't there, so whatever. But I always imagine if I was on stage, and they would have came in and yoked him up and I'm a witness. I'm like, are they going to come after me? Am I an accessory? But nothing ever happened. I don't think I ever seen him again. They didn't kill him. Another time I was in Ikebukuro performing, and after the show, it was like 3 a.m., we went to this izakaya, and we're just hanging out. And I was with a bunch of tough guy rappers, tough guy tattoos and fuck the police. And then this old guy came over. And was, you know how old people talk everywhere in the world. But, you know, he's talking. And they shut up. Like, they just gave him respect. And they're like, it wasn't like grandpa respect. It was, because eventually, like, he's in the Yakuza. But he was this dusty, old-looking man. And I was just like, that's what the Yakuza looks like? I'm thinking they're all, you know, Tokyo Drift looking. But, you know, you read that, I was reading the atmosphere, and they were quiet. They were shook. And at one point, the guy, he's like, who's he? And they're like, oh, that's Mashu. But they, like, you can see they're visibly scared. And then he got me a shot, whiskey or whatever, sochu or some old person liquor. And then he looked over and I didn't drink, and he's like, he asked him why he didn't drink. He's like, oh, he doesn't drink. He's like, drink it. And I'm like, I'm not drinking it. Nothing happened, and he left eventually. And then in hushed tones, that was the Yakuza. So that was pretty scary, because I've never experienced that before. All right, now, where we at? Number four. Number four would probably be scariest moments in Japan. All right, now we could do earthquake, not the earthquake itself, but the after effects of it. I'll just put them all together in one. So after the big earthquake, we started having the aftershocks, which those were annoying, because now you don't know if this is going to be another big earthquake. So you're just like bracing for whatever the hell. So a couple of things that kind of just fucked me up. One, my company was a piece of shit. Although when I had to call them to get like clearances for my new job, the one guy's like, I remember you. Like, I'm rememberable. But he was able to get my files and all that, so I guess I was. But anyway, the trains weren't working, and they're like, well, you gotta work. And so they found a bus route that was like 3 hours around the train. And I was super scared, because if I'm on this 3-hour train bus ride, and then there's an aftershock and I'm stranded, who the hell is going to help me? What am I going to do? And it was cold. It was March. I'll be out in the middle of nowhere stranded. No one's going to know. The phones won't work. And my company, like, we don't go. And they're like yelling at me. They weren't sympathetic. And then when you got to the school, they're just like, I broke down. I went to the principal's office. And he's like, listen, Mashu-san, you don't have to come, but I won't, because we get stamps every time we show up. It's like, so if you don't come, it's okay. I just won't stamp your thing. But if you come when you can. So if it takes you 5 hours, now did I use that to my advantage? I'll be waking up at 10 o'clock. All right, time to go to work. Get there at 2 o'clock. He'd stamp my thing, and then I go home. But yeah, that was scary, annoying. Another thing with the earthquake aftershocks, I was on the train once, and then the train, they have the detection to know if the earthquake is happening or whatever. So they stopped. And then we were stuck in between station and station. So we're in between. And it was like 45 minutes to an hour. The doors were closed. At first, it's like, da-da-da-da. But then I started getting a little restless. And then claustrophobic. Now, we're on a train with windows, but we can't get out. I'm starting to... And then the doors did open, and I did step out just to, like... Another thing with the earthquake, the whole Fukushima radiation gas thing. I wasn't, like, trying to leave the country or all that. I was, you're going to die, you're going to die. But... it was just the whole no information. I had some friends who are just like, kind of like the whole COVID thing. They're all over it, and they're just telling you this, and then the government's telling you that, and then Japanese people are doing this, and I called the military on the Japanese base, or the American base in Japan. And I'm like, so you got them radiation pills? He's like, yes. I'm like, should I take it? He's like, I cannot tell you. I'm like, what if I got radiation? well, it's at your own risk. I was like, does it work? He's like, I cannot answer. I'm just like, what? It was confusing. And then we had the rolling blackout, so you never knew. It was just a really bad time. But I survived. We survived. Human spirit. So that's number 4. I hope. I think it's number 4. All right, a top 3. Here we go. Drum roll. Brum, 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 brum. Don't laugh. This is my top 3. You might have a different top 3, but this is mine. All right. Let me get these in order. All right, let me do some honorable mentions before we get to the top 3. All right, going to the hospitals to get blood work. I only did it twice, but they stabbed the shit out of my arm. It's as if they are colorblind. Like they're looking for some veins, but I got brown skin, and they're just like, plop, 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 plop. And what makes it like terrifying is they're so friendly about like, oh, bam, not that one, bam, 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 oh, not the other arm. And then they would rotate with another nurse, and she'd be all like, and I'm like, trying to hold it in, you know? But they're just like, and then they're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Like, they're just all happy about it. And then they, like 7 different people, I kid you not, 7 different people came in there, and they're just like, they're stabbing up my arm. So yeah, now in America, they come and they're just like, I look away, and then she'll be like, I'm done. And I look over and I see the bottles all filled up. And I'm like, But that's an honorable mention because it wasn't something that happened often because I avoided going to the hospitals because of that. Another honorable mention, when I got the flu and I didn't know it was the flu, and I'm sitting there like dying alone. I had thoughts of, I'm gonna die all by myself. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. But again, I survived. Yeah. All right, any other honorable mentions? All right, moving on to 3. So as I said, I wasn't really concerned about Japanese cops because I didn't do much with them. And they were just being bothersome to me. But one time I used to live on base with my brother on Camp Zama. And he was out the country or out the prefecture on some training or whatever. And I was living with them. I had a pass, like a month pass. And you gotta know all these, need the backgrounds. And on that day, I just got my new visa. And on that day I got my new visa, I left my passport at my girlfriend's house. And so I had 2 different identification, like green card, gaijin cards. So one had the correct date, but no official stamp. I needed the passport to show that I was legitimately allowed to work and all that. And then the other one had the correct stamps, but it expired. So the combination of the 2 would have meant I could be here. So I'm at my girlfriend's house at the time. And again, I was basically sleeping at her house. It was almost my house. I mean, she lived with her parents. I was their adopted son for a little bit. And so I left all my stuff there, and I just went back maybe to get something. So I go to the gate, and the same guy who sees me all the time, because I used to rock a Visu, big a Visu, and da-da-da. I show him the new identification card. And he looks at it, and he's like, huh? And he said it expired. So then I said, no, because I don't know. So I show him the other one. So now he has 2, and I'm like, yeah, da-da-da. And he's like, you have 2. So now he thinks I'm counterfeiting. So then all these other guys, this is military police, Japanese police guys. So they start coming up, and they're like, all right, come this way. Nah, I'm good. And I try to go back the way I came. I'll go back to my girlfriend's house, mom's house. But they're like, no, you got to come in here. So I go into the stupid room, and then I'm sitting in this stupid room, and then they give me a phone, and then some guy's like, why do you have 2? He's like, why are you trying to get onto the base? And I'm being cocky as hell because it's funny. Now, at no point do I call my brother because he's out somewhere, and I don't call my sister-in-law, and so I'm just like, why are we trying to get in? I said, because the grass looked greener on the other side of the gate. They don't get my sarcasm. And maybe if I would have just been up front, it would have ended then, but that wasn't sufficient. So then that guy, or they, take me and they drive me to some other spot, some place I don't even know. I wasn't hooded or anything, but they drive me somewhere, and I'm in this room, and now I'm scared. Like it's like an interrogation room, and I'm in a foreign country, you know? So then the guy that was on the phone comes in there, and he's just like, why did you have, he's like talking to me, and I'm like getting nervous. So I explain, blah, 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 blah. So then they call immigration, and they're able to verify, yes, I am here. So then he's like, okay, you're okay. I'm like, all right. So then he's like, so where should I drop you off? Should I drop you off at your girlfriend's house? Where do they live? I'm like, I don't know. And I don't know their address per se. I know how to get there. Like, I don't know. Because that would be so, you know, I roll up in a cop car and all their neighbors and the shame I would bring to their family. So I'm just like, nah. So eventually they drop me up the street, and I look around, and I run around in circles, and I go down there. All right, so that's 3. Number 2, I don't even know. But yeah, I'll put it here. Number 2 would have been when I climbed Mount Fuji the second time. So when I climbed the first time, I was with my girlfriend, and she made sure that we had all the necessary things we needed to survive. And the tour guide that we did, he was really cool, and we had lots of time to relax and look at shit, take pictures. The second time I climbed, I just went with a tour group. I didn't know anybody. I didn't make a buddy. And that tour guide, he was on a schedule. And he didn't let us stop for shit. He'd be like, you got 4 minutes. And at 3:59, like, let's go. And he's like huffing up the hill. And on this particular time, I was mad at the world, I guess. Because I asked like 30 people if you guys want to go up the mountain with me. Mostly artists. Like, we can go up on top of the mountain and like make music. That'd be so cool. And like, yeah. But no one would give me a date. Like, well, I'll let you know. And the summer was winding down. There's a kind of sweet spot for when you're supposed to climb. And eventually it's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna climb next week. So I tell everyone, oh, I'm gonna climb next week. Like, oh, you should have told me. Yeah, whatever. So I went up that bitch with my MPC, my drone, the big one. Not the big one, but you know, the big one. Microphones, all the batteries for the drone, 2 iPhones, 2 phones, and a whole bunch of shit. But there was nothing there for like necessity to survive. Just I'll be able to, and I don't think I brought my laptop, but I wouldn't put it past you. So I had all this gear, heavy ass shit. So I'm going up this hill, going up this mountain with all this gear on. And, you know, I'm doing it. And then when we got to like the top part-ish, my left leg gave out, like that Charlie horse pain thing. And I'm not like athletic or, you know, I walk and talk and all that shit, but I don't like. So that's why I always feel I'm okay. I'm not like run a marathon, but I could climb up a damn hill like Mount Fuji. But I get up to the top and my left leg starts hurting. Then my right leg. Then they both start hurting. And I cannot move. I'm like, had to put all my gear down. And I'm shaking, sweating, but frozen. But then, you know, I make it up the hill. Even my buddy, he came back, like, you okay? You okay? I'm like, I got this. So I do get up there and I put all my stuff down and I charge everything, using up all the outlets. And I go, so whatever. And then go to bed. And then I wake up. And this happened the first time I climbed, but this time was worse. I wake up disoriented. I wake up with like a headache. I don't really get headaches. So like a migraine and then shortness of breath, and my body's all like aching, and it's just, and then there's nowhere to go because I realize I'm on a mountain, and if I go outside, it's gonna be like super cold because you're on top of the mountain, and I don't want to die on the mountain, and I'm just, like, it was bad to the point where I was gonna make a video about it, but I couldn't because I was just like, I just went out there. I sat on the steps on the inside of our little hotel thing, and I just tried to take deep breath. And then after like 40 minutes of sitting on the steps, my buddy, he was good people, so he came out like, "You okay? Didn't see you." And I'm like, "Yeah." And then the next day he was making fun of me for not having the proper gear. But yeah, that was pretty scary. A lot of these scaries are because I'm just by myself and death is upon me. But all right, so here comes our number one scariest moment that I can remember. There's probably other ones, but all right. It was when I was attacked by, drumroll, a wolf spider. I wasn't attacked technically. And they're harmless and they're good for your house and they eat the mice and all that good shit. That's what people told me. But the fact is, I came home one day, I sat down, I cooked some food, and I was just sitting there, and I saw at the corner of my eye something scurry. I'm like, I don't got no mice. And then I got up, and then I saw it like crawl up to the wall, and then it was like this big. Like, I've never seen one. I've been in Japan at that point for a good 10 plus years. Never even heard of a wolf spider. So now this is the first encounter with it. I don't know what the hell it is. And I know for damn well there's no way I'm going to be able to sleep if I don't kill it or get it outside. And I'm not one of those capture and release. That's not my thing. So I had to go for the killing part. So I pick up like a aerosol, like smell good can, and I stand on top of a chair. Of course, I take my pictures because I got to document this. And I start spraying, and then he starts walking towards me. And I'm spraying, and he's walking toward me, and they're spraying, and we had this battle. Now, that's, I'm jumping a little bit. But before that happened, I didn't know what the hell it was. I jumped up on the chair, and I'm like, what the fuck's that shit? But I couldn't leave, because again, if that shit, because I slept on a futon, so he's going to crawl right up and like lay babies in my stomach or some shit. I don't know. And again, I don't have anyone to. So I'm spraying the spider. The spider's like moving towards me as I'm spraying him. And then I'm getting the second hand of this aerosol because it's just making a cloud of shit. And he's just, and then there was like a little, like a light, what do you call it, fire alarm thingy, and that shit starts blinking, and then finally he takes a step, and then he just drops, and they're pretty big, so when he dropped, it was like a boom, it made a thud sound, boom, boom, and I'm just like, I jumped down, and I'm just like, and I left that there on the floor for like a good 5 days. Like, I ain't touching that shit. But then, this is crazy. I mean, that was number 2 scariest moment. Or that was number 1. I forget. Is it number 1? Well, I'll find out on the edit. But when he died, like, he didn't look so scary anymore. Because, he, like, kind of like cockroaches. When you kill them, they just kind of shrivel up. And they just look small and helpless. And then, life. I mean, but that's after the point. But that was my scariest. I don't. Some honorable mentions. I was once doing a photo shoot, and we were in the woods, and there was like a flying squirrel. Like, it was in the trees jumping. We assumed it was a flying squirrel, because I don't know what would have that mass to make that kind of sound. But it was kind of scary. We had this, what do you call it? Not a hurricane, not a tsunami, tropical storm. I don't know what it was, but it was something but the house was shaking, and it was scary. I couldn't sleep because the house was shaking. It was just a wind blowing. And woo! Another honorable mention would have been, this is an honorable mention. My first job I worked at, first time I was in Japan, first job, we had our training, and the boss said, the number one thing you got to be aware of is Japanese girls. That's what he said, Japanese girl students. And I was at a middle school. And he's like, because they're dangerous. And this is the boss. This is the CEO of our little company. And we're in a room full of like 200, 2, 3, 5, I don't know. We have a whole bunch of new teachers. And he's like, yeah, you got to be careful. And then he goes through like, and I kid you, he's saying this is my first introduction into the world of teaching in Japan. He's like, they're getting developed. And he's actually doing this, but he's not saying it, but he's doing this. And he's like, when you guys are having a gym or sports day, you got to just look straight. Don't do this. You see what he's saying? Like, so then he's like, and then when you see them, you can't put your hands out because you're going to touch those. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So then he had the guys get up, and then we would like run to the teacher. We were pretending, and then he would correct us. You can't do that because you're going to touch here. You can't do this because you're going to hit them in their chest. He didn't say these words. He was just now I don't know if he was like joking, but he didn't seem like he was joking. So I take that training to heart. So all year I'm just kind of like, making sure I'm not in that situation. Now, I was wearing my cologne at one point. I stopped wearing it. I don't even wear it now unless I'm doing something. But the kids, when I would walk past them in the rows at the classroom, they all like stick their nose and they smell me like that. So I stopped wearing it. So then one day I'm in the basement, like we got 4 floors. So I'm in the basement cleaning because we clean. We don't got janitors per se. I'm down there cleaning by myself. Clean. And then this student, she comes down the steps and she sees me and she's like, Masha! She screams and then she starts running down the steps. She's running. And then I see her, and then she comes and I sidestep like this, and then she goes this way. And then I go this way, and then she comes back around and she hugs me from behind. So her arms are like around me. And now I'm like, oh no, I'm going to get fired because they're going to come down. So I kind of like wiggle and get her off me. And then she runs down the other way. She achieved what she was trying to do. But yeah, that was like my honorable mention. That was scary. I'm like, oh my gosh, I broke the one rule they told us. So yeah, that's my top 10 with some honorable mentions. But yeah, overall, Japan wasn't scary, man. The loneliness is what it is. I'm more or less lonelier in a country that I speak the language than in a land of where I don't speak the language. Earthquakes, trains. Honorable mention number 30, airplanes. I'm okay with 13-hour flights. The turbulence. And right now in the news, every day a plane doors are ripping off. I am super scared to get on a plane. Military planes are crashing. They're bumping into each other. Like, what is going on? But that's the only way to get there because I don't think I want to do a boat either. And I don't know how to teleport yet. But yeah, that's my top 10 with honorable mentions. Let me know if my list was solid. All right, peace. I was thinking before I peace out, next week I wanted to do, well, let me know if you like these, because these are something, I got a bunch of stuff. I got videos. I was digging through I was looking for a photo shoot that I lost apparently 8 years ago. And as I was digging around for it, I found another photo shoot that I forgot about that I lost because I was using Lightroom, and at one point they had a cloud, and then something happened where it didn't sync and it just I lost shit, but I had it on hard drives. But I started finding all these pictures and memories that kind of brought me back. But I think next week I want to do the top 10 dumbest things I did in Japan. Top 7. But anyway, be safe. As always, thank you for watching the ramblings of a rhyming person walking around in his city. Peace.